How's it going, everyone? It's Lice here for the last more videos to bring you back to another episode of Smithy's Opinions, and this new edition is without the intro, so that's good. So today I am not reviewing a movie, I am reviewing my first game, and this game has been out for about a month now, I think? Yeah, about a month. A month and yeah, just a month. So today I am, of course, if you have read the title, and which you have, good for you. The game I am reviewing today is Injustice Gods Among Us. Injustice is a top-notch DC fighting game developed by the ever-popular NetherRealm Studios of Mortal Kombat fame, who, if you don't already know, is probably the most bloodiest game and goriest game I've ever played, and hopefully I'll review in the future.
Put it down!
Injustice not only crafts a well-done story, it also gives a superb fighting system, very complex, and a huge amount of extras. With that said though, it's not perfect. It has tiny little things that go wrong, but Injustice Gods Among Us is well worth the money for what you get, which, quite frankly, is a lot. Now, the story of Injustice starts with a very impactful scene, and this is quite possibly one of the most dramatic things I've seen in a long time. This is the death of the Joker. Now, I'm just going to take a minute for you to guys just sink that in. Like, the only time I know that Batman and, like, people have ever come close to ever killing the Joker is in Hush, and that in itself was a great comic, but he doesn't go all the way. Superman, though, he loses it, and for good reason, too. Joker not only kills Lois Lane and his unborn child, right? He destroys the entirety of Metropolis. Like, that's 8 million people. 8 million gone like that is quite affecting, really. And Superman he can't take this all at once. And he puts it simply into his mind, the Joker's gone too far. He needs to be punished for his sins. And he kills him. It is one of the best openings to a game I've seen in quite a while.
That's enough.
I know it's soon, but think you'll ever love again? Maybe you won't kill your next family.
I've played my plenty share of games. And then we figure out that's in another dimension, and the next dimension we go into is DC's finest, which is Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, etc. Go up against some villains and try to stop Joker from pretty much doing the exact same thing he did in Metropolis in the other universe by destroying it. Without warning, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and a couple other heroes get transported into a different timeline. The timeline was where Metropolis was destroyed. This timeline's a little different though. What happens is that Superman, if you read the prequel comics, you'll get a lot easier. Superman controls the entirety of the world in this thing called the One Earth government. The One Earth government is pretty much a government made up of entirely of heroes who are politics, but they also, like, they're pretty much Superman is the leader of it, and he's pretty much judge, jury, and executioner. This kind of story though, and you kind of will recognize it from some comics, it has been done before. I don't have any examples, but this story has actually some really good moments. There's some great choreographed fight scenes, some good script, and the actual base of the storyline is fantastic. My personal favourite has to be the Batman vs. Batman fight right around the end of the game. That is so cool. That cutscene, I'll show you right now. Have a look.
This is my world. My fight.
You made it ours when you brought us here.
But unlike Mortal Kombat, fights feel like they make sense. They actually do. They feel forced. They feel like they actually need to be there. They don't feel like when Johnny Cage is going up to Sony and be like, "Hey, I want to hit on you. I'm hitting on you right now," and then she just goes on and punches him in the face and be like, "I'm not doing that." It's Mortal Kombat didn't do the story fantastic, but it was a lot longer than Injustice. Injustice clocks in around 5-6 hours, sort of, and Mortal Kombat goes for about 7 and 8. And I've played the Mortal Kombat story about 4 times now, so they're both pretty good, but I'm not comparing them to anything because they're two different beasts in each other. The graphics, personally, weren't bad, but they could try harder. I mean, Mortal Kombat. If you look at Mortal Kombat right now, just look at this. They they just made it look better. The character models, the stages, they just look better. Although some things are better than others, you can accept that when you look at both games simultaneously and just you judge them how they look. Personally, I thought Mortal Kombat was better, but that's left to your own devices. Like in Mortal Kombat, costume damage was during the battle was a nice touch. Mortal Kombat was a little bit more brutal though, showing blood, some eye sockets coming out. It was pretty gross, but Justice has to scale it back a bit, just for the sake of being DC fighters, but still make it look pretty gross when Batman has his ears torn up and stuff, and you can see the blood coming out of these wounds. It's good though. It's not gratuitous or anything like that. The character designs and models all look great. They are pretty much on scale with Mortal Kombat. They're both well designed. They're all well designed. They're all well crafted, except for one costume and one character that kind of felt off for me. Wonder Woman's model is no holds barred. It looks like a man. I can't hold that back. Except for the fact they gave it these huge breasts. It just looks wrong. Seriously, I mean they need to go back to the drawing board on this. It was just wrong. Although some of the costumes were pretty good. Like I love the Red Sun one. That was a nice touch from the comic, and the 600 costume was quite good as well. The backgrounds also deserve merit too. Like Mortal Kombat in a way, but Mortal Kombat didn't have as much chaotic destruction in the background. But Injustice on the other hand has some really good elements. Like if you beat someone in the fight, you see like in the Batcave all the like rocks are coming down, everything's being splashed around. You can even get electrical wires or unplugged and everything. It's quite good. IGN, however, said that they thought that the destruction was too chaotic. When I think about it, you can sort of relate, but the thing is if Superman did punch Doomsday into the ground from outer space, do you honestly think that nothing would happen? Do you think everything would just be standing as it would be? I mean, it's kind of it's just plain logic. You think about it, and you're like, there's got to be some destruction. I mean, a nuke's not gonna do nothing. It's gonna do something. It has to have certain destruction, stuff like that. Gameplay is obviously the biggest component to a fighting game, and this is quite possibly one of the best fighting games I've played, besides maybe some more technical fighters. The fighting is almost perfect. That's all I have to really say. It uses a light, medium, heavy attack basis, as well as a character-specific trait button. The trait button usually is obviously character-specific, and it gives them an extra ability, like Superman might be a damage boost, or Solomon Grundy has these tons of really good chain grabs when performed, give him buffs.
Solomon Grundy! Born on a Monday! Christened on Tuesday! Buried on Wednesday!
And there's tons of other great ones. And my personal favorite is probably Batman's, who pulls out these mechanical bats, which he can chain into dead combos, or he can just use it to start a combo. It's a really interesting mechanic, and I love how they put it. Injustice relies on using all of these your abilities to your advantage. You have to play a good defensive as well as a good offensive, and characters with parries like Batman, Wonder Woman, and hell, even Raven, they're very good for defense, and that's probably why this is used to beat your opponent. Because some parries might do damage, like Batman's, he pulls off a couple of his grabs. And finding combos online to use is quite fun, and it really feels rewarding when you pull off a really high damage combo, and you just look at them and you just laugh at your opponent and be like, yeah, I did that to you. I totally smashed you into the ground. Interactive objects and level transitions are also a new asset to the game. These are also very well done and able to continue a combo, like some destructible like vents or the bat signal in Gotham City. Or these and the level transitions are pretty fantastic actually. They're awesome, they're cinematic. My personal favourite has to be the elevator in Batcave. Here you go. The clashes are also a great new system. These are pretty much like Mortal Kombat's combo breakers, but they have a little twist on them. The premise of the idea is wagering your super meter to get health if you're the defender, or to deal damage if you're the attacker.
You fight with a toy. You fight with jewelry.
Most of the time, though, people don't really use this to their advantage, and they'd rather spend meter. They'd rather not spend meter and then use the meter in combos once you get a little bit more advanced. It is good though to use the meter if the person is very low on their health, and clashes are only activated when a person is on their second health bar. Another good addition is the Star Labs. This gives 240 extra missions, 10 for each character, to increase the replay value, and it's a good addition. Mortal Kombat did a little bit more. It did about 300, and on the Vita it did an extra 150. But although some of these missions are good, some of these missions are horrible. Some of them involve these stupid mini games, like pressing this button destroys this. You need to keep destroying this, but if you miss, you get stunned or something. Something silly like that. But some of them were okay. I didn't hate them all, but most of them did feel out of place, and some of them were incredibly difficult. There was this one that I had trouble with, and I think it was these ones where ice cubes fell down from the top of your screen, and that was very frustrating. I could not do anything. This guy and the opponent always won every time against me. So sometimes, but the Star Labs do help, considering they give you a tutorial of each character on their first mission. But I don't think that's enough. You need to give them. Well, actually, I think it is enough. But if you want to get past these, you really do need to learn some pretty basic bread and butter combos. Online, though, is probably the best part of this game, and it's got a huge community to back it up. It allows different game modes in ranked matches and player matches 1v1s. These are obviously simple fighter versus fighter. Whoever wins gets the most EXP, while the loser gets barely any. There's also nice little challenges at the bottom, like perform 2 specials or escape a opponent's throw, and those are nice little touches, and they net you extra EXP. There's also King the Hill, which comes from Mortal Kombat, which is quite good, and I personally didn't get the chance to play it on Mortal Kombat, and now I do, and I see why people loved it. It was pretty much, there's a king, and people are lined up, and they try to defeat the king. Whoever does takes their role and tries to stay alive as long as they can until they get beaten, and vice versa, and keeps going and going and going. Survivor is pretty much the same idea with King the Hill, as you have to knock someone off, but instead you take over your own health bar from the last round. That's a really smart idea, but I don't think it's very... I think it's a great idea, but not many people play it. I think people are more used to 1v1 King of the Hill stuff. A special mention has to go to the super moves, and I'll just show you a couple. These are really do feel like super moves. They put the super into move, and this is especially evident in a couple, like Flash's run around the world for a haymaker to the face. Or Batman calling the Batmobile to run him over. Or, hell, even Superman, punching a guy into outer space, and then while they're up, he knocks them back down to Earth. It's just the little things. It's really funny, and it's really cool to have a look at all this. And there's some nice little references in the stages as well, as a little bit of fun. Like, for example, you can see Quan Chi's amulet in one of the Metropolis stages, and you can see Darkseid in the Hall of Justice level transition. One small problem that I had with the gameplay though is that some hit reactions did feel a little weird. The level transition attack is usually performed by pressing back X on PS3. But when this happens during a juggle, for example, it looks kind of silly. I mean, for example, if you kick someone and they're up here, they'll kind of just go straight down. They'll go diagonally. You'll understand what I mean. When you play the game, it comes up every now and again. But then again, you barely notice it. It does look odd, but it barely comes. So you don't really give a shit. The music is quite an interesting thing. I really did not notice this when I was fighting because, well, I was too busy fighting. But once you take it in, and if you go into the archives, you notice it, and it's actually very good. It's very orchestral. It's done very well. The score is done perfectly, right down to the clashes where the music ramps up and stops once they hit each other. That is perfect. The hits also sound like they hurt, and they feel really beefy, and they sound like they're going to hit you. And the sound cues also make you know when people are, for example, throwing a projectile at you. Like, you sort of realize it when you also look at their character, and that's when stuff like Deathstroke, you can see him pulling out a sniper rifle, and they'll just be like, okay, I can crouch under it or I can jump over it. There's some very good strategy, and it's good to listen as well. A good pair of headphones is highly advised. My final verdict on the game is, overall, the small imperfections are looked past when you just look at the entire package. I mean, you got a great fighting system, you got a great story, quite possibly the only story I really like, and in a fighting game, and online play that's done to perfection must have made this game a must-own for fighting game veterans, fans, and beginners alike. It's very accessible, it's very fun, and that's why I give this game an 8.5 out of 10. So, Injustice really is a game for fighting game veterans as well. This is, in fact, going into pro circuit tournaments, and that is quite a good thing. It's going into EVO, and that's probably one of the most significant fighting game tournaments around. So hopefully, people like Perfect Legend will start to use characters like Batman and I don't know, Aquaman, the Joker's a superhero world. Yeah, I had to say it. I am sorry. But overall, Injustice is a great game, highly accessible, highly fantastic, and should be bought. That's my opinion on Injustice Gods Among Us, so I'd like to thank you for watching this video. It has been a great pleasure. I also want, again, I made a video of this, but I really do appreciate suggestions. I have gotten a couple different ones for games like Mortal Kombat, and I've also got different movie stuff like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So I am trying to fit it into my schedule somehow. I will look into it. So people, just give me some time. I have watched a lot of movies recently, so I really want to choose one and review that. I probably have a good idea on what that is, and I think that movie will probably be Rear Window by Alfred Hitchcock. So I might give you a review of that, hopefully next week. With that said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and a favourite down below. Also, please comment on what you personally, who your favourite character was in Injustice, and who you would like to see in the DLC. So far, Lobo and Batgirl are now playable, so if you haven't already got the season pass, now would be a good time to get it. Because, as rumoured, the new characters will probably be Zod from Superman, and the very obscure one, Scorpion from MK. So hopefully that'll be interesting, and I hope that Scorpion's character trait button is a block button. Yes, that'll be fantastic. I really want to see that happen. So Yep, like I said, like, favorite, sub, comment below, and I will see you guys soon. This is Smith. Oh wait, forgot one thing. This is gonna sound a little odd, so most people won't understand what I'm talking about. If you have read my comment section lately, you will notice that one of my friends, Silly Cow Assassin, keeps commenting on a certain movie. Guess the picture. Take time. There you go. If you, no offense, Aaron, but if you keep commenting on this crap, I will block you. And if you do it again, I will murder you. I will come to school with a freaking cleaver and I'll chop your head off. Okay? Okay. Thank you, mate. So like, favorite, sub, and enjoy. This is Smith signing out.
Annoying little gnat.
Grow a real mustache.